We now have another dynamic panel coming up, and the people that I'm going to invite belong to the very core of the entire ecosystem of the changing modalities. They house and analyze the data and present to the world the essence of data-driven coordinates for the new wireframes. I'll request our very, very dear friend Mujib Zahoor, Managing Director, S&P Global, to please join us on stage as the moderator for the upcoming panel. Joining Mujib will be his colleagues who have traveled all the way from US to be with us. Marissa Taylor, Head of Commercial Technology at S&P Global. Marissa oversees the enterprise implementation of Salesforce and leads a global team of architects, business analysts, and developers, and QA engineers. Marissa is a seasoned Salesforce platform architect and engineer with over 10 years of experience, coupled with a solid background in project management spanning 2 decades and more. Next is Mike Ying, Head of Data Architecture of Commercial and Technology Platforms, S&P Global. He's spent more than 2 decades very passionate about data and analytics. He's kind of grown up in a consulting ecosystem and has delivered many large-scale solutions at S&P. And finally, Jeff Mullane. Jeff is Head of Solution Delivery of Commercial and Technology Platforms at S&P Global across commercial and marketing organization of S&P Global. He has 20 plus years of experience in IT project management and leadership, business process automation, software configuration management, software engineering, and IT systems administration. He has helped many organizations ranging in size from startups to Fortune 100 transform their business processes and enhance performance through the implementation of best practices and automated tools. As an expert in Agile and Scrum methodologies, Mr. Mullane has extensive experience with DevOps and BPM using industry tools and techniques. We welcome you all here. Great to have you all here, and I'm sure it's going to be a very, very substantial learning for all of us here, because we've been talking about technology, we've been talking about data. So here, again, we kind of morph big picture into big data application and see what we have to learn. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mujib. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No pressure with all those expectations setting. We'll try to live up to it. Thank you very much, everyone. Before we kick off, I believe there's a small video that we would like to play. If the tech folks can get the video up and running.
What do you see when you look at the surface? Just that, the surface. It's when we dive in that discovery begins. Gathering and dissecting data, predicting trends, and projecting risk. Setting aside assumptions and questioning everything, from how we do our work to what our work can do. Down here in the depths, a new world of possibility emerges. Essential intelligence from S&P Global takes you here, providing the data, technology, workflow solutions, and expertise you need to push below the surface and plumb the wonders beneath. Because a better, more prosperous future awaits. It's yours for the seeking. S&P Global. Seek and prosper.
As you can tell, we'll take full advantage of having a large presence from our team members here. As you heard, our purpose, S&P Global is a purpose-led organization. Our purpose is to accelerate progress in the world. We accelerate progress through essential intelligence that we provide to corporates, to governments, to regulators, to educational institutions around the world. And we provide this essential intelligence through the power of our data, our analytics, and the tools we give to our clients that they use to make decisions with conviction. Today, I'm very pleased and honored to have an esteemed panel with me who basically run an organization that builds the tools that get these capabilities to our people and to our clients. So we will try to spend the next 45 minutes or so talking about some of those aspects. And we've heard the word, if I think there was a count on how many times we've heard Gen AI since yesterday, it would at least would be in 3 digits, that count. So we will try to spend a little bit of time understanding some of those use cases and how it is actually being used in some applications. I'll kick off with a question for Mike and Marissa, perhaps. Mike, you can go first, and then Marissa, you can chime in. So how, in your roles and at S&P broadly, is preparing to face the competition as they also embark on this journey on utilizing some of these new technologies? And what do you see as our strengths, as well as your take on our thought process around AI and Gen AI capabilities? I know a lot going on in the question, but I trust your capabilities, Mike. He's fresh from a fun day at Joyland yesterday. That's why he looks so nice. I will not get into the other activities that occurred after that, but Mike, go ahead, please.
Well, thank you, everyone. First of all, thank you for welcoming us to this beautiful city. It's been an amazing experience so far, and everybody, I mean, the most important thing is the people have been so kind and wonderful to us. So thank you very much. So I think from your question around AI, I think first and foremost is our executive committee, our organization as a whole, has really put their weight behind AI in terms of this is where we want to be, this is where the future is, and how do we set ourselves up for success. And that is creating a mindset across the whole organization around AI and Gen AI. And that means getting yourself trained up, familiarize yourself with the technologies, what the terminologies are, LLM, all the lingos that goes around with it. We have some tools, and we've set up some foundational training across the organization to do so. From my perspective, AI starts with data, right? So we're a data company yourself, but the data is what drives our capabilities. So for me is making sure we have the data architecture and data infrastructure in place to put ourselves in the position to succeed with the Gen AI capabilities. And we're still in the very early stages of Gen AI. So setting up that foundational work, the data infrastructure is key to our success. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of those, how we're doing some of that stuff. But for me, though, I'll start off with that, the data being the key to everything that we do and setting up our foundation for success.
Thanks, Mike. Marissa?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Also, to echo Mike, thank you so much for the amazing warm welcome. It's so wonderful to be here with all of you, with our team, for the first time ever. I think Mike hit the nail on the head. Data is the backbone of Gen AI. But when we're thinking about the mindset and the work that we're doing there, this has created kind of a level playing field, right? No one has this completely figured out, which makes it a very exciting moment and gives us all of this opportunity to experiment. So our focus is very much around the concept of trying things out. We don't know exactly what's going to work. We don't know exactly what's going to work or how it will eventually turn out. So we really embrace this concept of failing fast. We need to try, we need to test it out, and if it's not working, we move on to the next. So I think that is the really generous aspect that we have as part of our technical teams to run with Gen AI.
Thanks, Marissa and Mike. We'll get into a little bit more detail about some of the use cases later on in the discussion. I'm going to rope Jeff in to the conversation to expand a little bit more on a related topic. With a strong track record that we have in technology leadership, digitization and automation, how do you feel that we are continuing to align ourselves around Gen AI? Also, Jeff, from an organizational perspective, as also from an industry perspective, if you can comment on that, that'll be helpful.
There we go. Thanks for the question. S&P Global is as we've mentioned, just kind of embarking upon this journey. So there's a few different things that we're focusing on at this point. AI is new to all of us, and our leadership saw very quickly that we needed to take some very concrete steps to be able to very quickly integrate and adopt these tools that are really going to be transformative in the future. So a few things that we did. First of all, if you think back to when we started hearing about AI, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 years ago, some of the first things that came out in the news and the things that we heard about were these publicly available tools and large language models, the ChatGPT, the Midjourney, these sorts of things, and we first started gaining access to these, and they were fun, right? You could sign up and start playing with them a little bit. They knew about the world sort of on a public basis, so you could ask it questions about what is the best recipe for a biryani, or give me a funny picture of some cats playing poker, which was certainly a nice amusement. But this is kind of like how a child learns these things, right? Is by playing. But the next step was really figuring out how we can utilize these tools and apply them to our work, to our business. And so the leaders of our company had the foresight to create a platform which was internal to our organization, which could ingest that information that wasn't necessarily available to the public, but took advantage of the enormous scale that we had and the enormous breadth of data that we had across all of our platforms. So now we have a place that we can go and experiment, not just for amusement or entertainment, but actually for starting to see how these tools and technologies can be applied to our business. Along with that, we put a focus on the people side and the training side of this. So we have a very robust training organization as part of our company, and they've debuted things like boot camps, like instructor-led courses, self-paced courses, all of these resources that have been made available. Not just made available, they've been integrated into our culture. Our leaders have all been challenged with setting goals, and that percolates down throughout the organization. So every one of us at the company, as part of our annual goal-setting process, is challenged to write what goals we want to achieve this year related to AI. I have my goals. We all have our goals. And as part of that, we are using these new tools that are available to us. So I think with all of these actions, S&P has established a very strong foundation, and now it's really up to all of us as members of the company to take advantage and learn these tools and figure out how we're going to apply them going forward.
Thanks, Jeff. I think a couple of things that you talked about. It's important to reiterate the functionality of why it's important for organizations. We feel as a best practice to create more awareness around some of these technologies. The tool that Jeff was referring to is something that our colleagues, the 35,000 plus colleagues that we have globally, can use in their day-to-day activities. That is what will create awareness. We spent some time yesterday, last evening on this as well. So just for those of you who attended the session last evening, these questions for me are not by Copilot. Last night's questions were. I had asked Copilot to write the questions for the previous panel. But the point really being that making these tools available for your people in our various organizations. If you as an organization, as an entrepreneur, whether you run a small company, a mid-sized company, or a large company, democratizing access to tools that use these capabilities is an essential component of creating awareness and building expertise in your people around these capabilities. That is something that in very early on in this journey, as all my colleagues mentioned, I think something that we're coming across, we're seeing some absolute fantastic traction as people use these capabilities. they are now a part of this innovation and evolution that we are on. They can come and suggest new functionalities for our internal workflow tools, as well as for our client-facing products, that perhaps if it was limited, because, and then again, I say this because we hear that, there's a department in an organization that's handling Gen AI, or that is responsible for innovation. Unfortunately, that's not how it's going to work, at least from our experience. The only way we can leverage these capabilities and we can leverage them to their full extent is by democratizing access to team members, by making sure that these capabilities are part of our workflow. Only then we can truly see how our people and our organizations can benefit from these future technologies, from these data capabilities, from things like LLMs. I want to spend maybe a little bit more time on the same topic before we switch gears and get into talent. And perhaps we can get into business use cases and speak a little bit about, from your vantage point, and this is for all three of you, Mike, Marissa, and Jeff. Marissa, maybe we can start with you. From the commercial standpoint, what are some business use cases that you see that utilize some of these new capabilities that our clients are actually using that can be helpful?
Oh, absolutely. The thing with AI, right? Everyone initially, when we first started hearing about it, everyone was very concerned. It's going to take my job. It's going to I'm going to lose out on an opportunity. And what we're seeing is that's absolutely not the case. We're looking at how do we make our employees more efficient and more effective, especially on the commercial side. So some key business cases that we're really focused in on are analyzing white space for our customers. The primary platform I deal with is Salesforce, so CRM data, understanding that 360-degree view of our customers when you have multiple business units, multiple account teams working on them. That's really critical so that we can collaborate and be very cohesive about how we're presenting ourselves. Customers don't see us as differing business units. They see us as one S&P Global, and we need to create that for them going forward. One of the things that we have found in some research and partnering with a few of our consulting partners is that with AI capability, we are likely, the numbers, when you think about a span of time, a sales rep using AI and a sales rep not using AI, they might bring in the same amount of money, but the sales reps that are using AI are doing it with less customers and with larger opportunities. So what that does is then impact our year-over-year increase. So the more that we can bring that to the table for our sales teams is really critical.
Excellent use case. Mike, you wanna go next?
Yeah, sure. Just to add to Marissa's point around some of the use cases, one of our challenges is stitching together our data, right? With a 35,000 plus employee organization, we have a lot of data, and we have a lot of data coming from various data sources. So how do you, this topic is around big data, how do we stitch together and then make that cohesive for our commercial teams? And part of our job is enabling that commercial team. So providing them with information across our organization. So if a sales rep comes to me and says, such and such bank, what is our spend there and what are our opportunities? Our idea, perfect use case is ask the platform. You ask the data and they'll give you all the information around that content, around that customer, how many opportunities you have in that space, what are the possibilities, and give you a potential target list of people to talk to, because that's what the information is available to us. I think that's some of the power of what we're trying to stitch together. But in order to do so, you got to have good quality data. So for me, it's not just so much about, we talked about data, but also the data quality, the data governance, and the data lineage around that information. Okay, I have this data point, but where did it come from? How do I trust it? As you see, a lot of companies are competing for Gen AI solutions. they don't tell you necessarily, can you trust the information or the hallucination, as they say in the field, that are coming up with that data. So we, as a company, S&P Global, is very keen on that information. We want to be your trusted source. And with that same ethos, we apply that to our commercial and our digital organization to ensure the data that we provide to our commercial organizations is the same data quality and trust that we put in there. So,
Thanks, Mike. I think, again, the point around enabling commercial teams and the use case around ensuring data integrity, both are such key components. I can expand on them a little bit more, but Jeff, you want to maybe share a...
Yeah, absolutely. I'll offer another lens of this. Mike and Marisa talked about the process of analyzing our customers' needs and selling to them. The piece that comes after that, however, which is equally important, is serving those customers, right? Because S&P is a business that wants to establish an ongoing relationship with our customers over the years and decades even to come, right? We don't want you to purchase something from us one time. We want you to be a recurring customer that comes back year after year and uses these products and helps build your own business from them. So serving these customers is an area that AI has incredible potential to help us with, because if you think about if you have purchased a product from us and you have a question or you encounter a problem, there's really two ways traditionally that you could work through that, right? You could ask for the manual, and we hand that to you, and we say, take the next day and read the manual and figure it out yourself. Or you could try and call us or chat us and say, help me with this problem, and that, speak to a person and get that help. So there's really this third way emerging, and we saw this several years ago with the emergence of these chatbots that, of course, now every website you go to, you click on chat, and some bot pops up, and sometimes it pretends to be a person, and sometimes it makes it clear it's a machine. But the initial generation of these were very much fixed in their responses and what they could do. So you asked them something, and it sort of did its best, but as I'm sure we've had all the experience, they weren't necessarily that good. What's coming with these large language models and this AI is there's a third path now where you have an intelligent chatbot that is the equivalent almost, or even more, of speaking to a person that has the latest manual with the information that's been incorporated from the release that just came out the last week and has done the equivalent of reading and memorizing and learning all of this. And it can help you with your questions, and it can help walk you through whatever steps are necessary to use our products effectively. And it does that immediately, and it does that intelligently. It does that at incredibly low cost and much higher customer satisfaction than either of the options that we had presented earlier. So that aspect of serving our customers and the way that AI is helping us do that is just a really exciting new thing that we're working to integrate across our entire suite of offerings.
Thanks, Jeff. It's a very interesting use case. Just to expand a little bit on what Marisa spoke about, enabling or using these technologies to enable your workforce become more efficient and productive is a significant use case and a great starting point for anybody here or listening in who's wanting to explore and venture into. I think this is a real use case that can be implemented. All of us have internal workflows in our organizations. Using some of these models on those internal workflows can enhance the productivity of your existing staff, can help your staff and your team members perhaps do more higher value add work than spending time on Excel sheets or macros trying to figure out what component of their workflow should they focus on more. Again, it goes back to the more we are able to integrate applications that leverage these capabilities into our workflows. The next time I'm going to say this, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but I just cannot emphasize enough why that is such a central component of adaptation around these capabilities and how much it will benefit individuals as well as organizations. Our people who are here who experience these workflows on a day-to-day basis will tell you that it enables them to spend more time on higher value-added tasks, and that's a source of great personal satisfaction, drives their engagement. It is just a win-win across the board if we are able to stitch this workflow together in this manner. We will also take some audience questions just to keep this interactive. We on this side are not used to a monologue conversation without a lot of audience participation. So we just had occupational hazard, you can call it. So we would love to take some questions from the audience. If you have any, please raise your hand, and I'm sure somebody will come to you with a mic, and we will get into those. Meanwhile, let me switch gears a little bit and talk. We've so far spoken about capabilities. All our three exceptional leaders essentially manage a lot of talent across geographies. So I want to pick your brains a little bit on what you see on talent trends. The question I have is around upskilling. The way technology has transformed and the pace of that transformation is very, very fast. How are you as leaders of global teams ensuring that employees and your team members sort of stay up to speed with everything that's going on? Marissa, maybe we can start with you.
Sure. Well, I just want to echo or reinforce the point that you just made, that value add that employees bring becomes so critical. The thing that I'm focused on with my team and what I encourage everyone in the company as we talk about Gen AI to do is to think about where are those administrative burdens? Where are those rote processes that we can automate through these tools and take that off your plate, because we do have such brilliance and such talent within our teams that I need them to be doing the big stuff. And I think often when we think about Gen AI, we get really focused on the big use cases, right? The big things, but it really is about day to day. Can you give me an agenda for this meeting? Help me prepare this deck. Help me check in my code. A lot of my team are, core skill set is hard code development, and that's not necessarily going to be the future, but I need them to understand and be really critical thinking about what the AI capabilities are putting out to them and assessing that it's correct and true. So I think our upskilling focus is on what we once referred to as soft skills, but I now like to think of them as power skills. It's critical thinking, it's communication, it's creativity, because you've got to interface with this tool that doesn't have any of those. And so we need to be focused in that space.
Fantastic. I think the point around soft skills or power skills, as you call them, is absolutely spot on. We spent some time, I think, yesterday in one of the panels, and as well as our panel, the one we had around skills, on the same thing. Mike, anything to add to that, or before I move on?
Yeah, sure. I think in the previous session, I think that what resonated with me, and I echo that, is there's tons of talent here in Islamabad, in Pakistan as a whole. I think it's we have to figure out as leaders how to marry those talent with opportunities. And I think a lot of the skill sets that I see that are upcoming is how do you work with AI? How do you work with prompt engineering and understanding? And that kind of, if you boil it down, is what I think of as data engineers. So data engineers as a profession, what does that include? That includes data scientists, data quality folks, data governance folks, how to understand data pipelines from source to destination, and really understand what the data means, right? What are you trying to get from an end user perspective, and how potentially can you discover that data and source that data? The low-level coding as a programmer, is going to go away in the next 5 years. I think you're going to have AI that will do most of that work for you, but it's you as a talent, as a person, to understand with that and make use of it to do most of that work for you. So I see that's where we're heading in terms of upskilling yourself as an organization.
Hello, excuse me. Hello.
Yeah.
I have a question, sir.
Okay.
Hello.
Who goes first?
I'm looking at Moin Saab, but the voice is coming.
I'll be quick.
The mic already in my hand.
Oh, you're back there. Yes.
Okay,
Moin Saab will take that one and then we'll come to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Professor Shah, I'm the Vice Chancellor of Karakoram International University from Gilgit-Baltistan, long way. We have started all these new technologies as our base programs in AI, data analytics, and all the new technologies. But the biggest challenge we face is to connect the students and graduates with the job markets. The question is how the global market and leaders in technology can help us to connect the universities in Pakistan, particularly focused on modern technologies, with the job market, both at national and international levels. Thank you.
I can take this. Thank you, Professor Saab, for the question, a very important question. I think there are two ways or avenues. I'm not sure if you had a chance to attend the last session for yesterday, which was, I think Nadeem Malik spoke extensively around that. I'll quickly try to cover it. I think the first methodology is a lot of large enterprises, including S&P Global. I know Asif was here from Systems yesterday. I know Bilal from Contour does this. We already have established outreach programs with universities. We would welcome any university that has those capabilities to come and partner with us, where we want that talent to be able to, provided the opportunity to get groomed, to learn from the capabilities that a lot of organizations like S&P Global have who operate in Pakistan. So that is one avenue. The other avenue, I think Nadeem spoke about the Tech Lift program yesterday as well, which is a government funded program, a boot camp for college graduates to get them ready for the job market. Because right now the challenge is we have over 25,000 graduates, IT graduates coming out of Pakistan universities. The challenge is how many of them are immediately employable, how many of them have skill sets that are relevant. I was at a university recently and talking to the graduating batch of a 4-year computer science program. The curriculum didn't really cover any Salesforce development. If you go at our careers page right now, I think half the opportunities would be in that space. So would be in a lot of other areas. Even traditional, Mike spoke about data engineering. That's something that is still not covered in our curriculums. So I think the question I will pose back to educational institutions and people who are responsible for educational institutions is what can educational institutions do to keep up with the pace at which technology is changing? Because unless and until that happens, their product, which is their graduates, are always going to be catching up. So I think that's my perspective from my experience in Pakistan and looking at other countries, regional players as well. These are measures that we're not the only ones in the world trying to solve this problem, right? Everybody is facing the same challenge. So these are some best practices that we see from around the world. Some of them we are adopting in Pakistan as well. It is about how quickly can we adapt to those. Moin Saab, you want to?
Ji. Moin Bartley with the Center for Economic Research in Pakistan, sir. So here's my question. What's the wish list that S&P would have of data, different parts of Pakistan, there's data and with different organizations, different parts of government, NADRA or State Bank or the Bureau of Statistics. So what is the wish list of the data that you would love to have from different parts of Pakistan? Because I think that's critical. So that's one. And another related question is that looking at the Indian market, what are some of the data policies? I know this is getting pretty broad, but just very quickly, approaches or data policies that are there in India that the Indian government is supporting that you would love to have here in Pakistan?
Again, this will have to be me, unfortunately. I think so on your first question on the wish list, we frankly don't really have a wish list for any data in Pakistan. That's the short and sweet answer. We cover public company data. We cover about guys keep me honest, about 4,000 companies in Pakistan, maybe a little less. Am I just blatantly lying? Is that the number? That's what somebody told me. So unless that's what we're showing in our demo outside, you can go check it out as well. If that's not true, then there's a problem somewhere. So we cover public company data that's available to us. Other than that, we don't really have any sort of wish list per se from a regulatory standpoint or anything of that sort as far as data needs are concerned. The broader answer to the question is, in any market, the demand for data from the regulator would be, a lot of markets are moving towards automated filings, for example. That's very helpful. That helps get the data into the product a lot more quicker, so investors can take a look at that data a lot more quicker, so that you can maybe include in the wish list. Now, when you talk about what can we do from a regulatory standpoint or a policy standpoint, again, I think several things have been mentioned. I don't know, I'm sure you were here when Sajid was talking about the importance of ESG, having a data protection capability in the country. I know the ministry is working on one. That would be great. That's something that other regional countries have. Pakistan is on its way. I think it's almost there. So we should be able to get to that fairly soon. That would be a good piece of legislation to have for not S&P Global only, but for the market. As Sajid was mentioning, as we operate in a global economy, that's a requirement that's going to be there soon. So important for us to have that.
Just a quick, just wanted to mention, I was having a chat with your team a little while ago.
Don't put me on the spot, buddy.
No, I like to get the perspective from your colleagues as well. So they'd love to have bank deposit and branch location data. They'd love to have the licensing, broadcast licensing, data. NADRA has tons of data. There's so much data out there which is not really being utilized. In fact, as a citizen, it's very sort of frustrating, and you realize what's the potential out there that's really not being utilized. And our stock market being the way it is, we would really like it to be a more mature and active stock market. So it'd be great to get some perspective on what is it that we could make available, do better, because at the moment, it's not really happening. That's my perspective. Thanks.
I don't know if you have...
I have a couple. I mean, I think that to your earlier question, what kind of data do we want? We want all of it if it's available, right?
Yeah.
I think from a technology standpoint, we see a lot in the field of compliance and data residency, right? So we talk about India, right? So we have, like a lot of the countries are requiring that their data reside in their country. The servers, the data themselves, the source of truth all sit there. So there's and a lot of our vendors are all cloud-based. They're not necessary in those countries. So how do you solve for those things? And the privacy with each country, the European Union and the United States are acting those privacy. What kind of information can you disclose? What kind of PPI information are you able to disclose? So there are some technology solutions in place. Just because you have them, and we would love to have them and use that and enable that and use that in our models and help and alleviate some obstructions in the field. But there are challenges around data residency and compliance at the government, at the state level, that there are solutions that we're also encountering in our space.
I have one quick question. Am I audible? Yes.
You're audible, but you're not visible. Where are you?
Yes, here. First of all, thank you so much for sharing informative information regarding AI to the leadership of S&P Global Pakistan. I'm Khurram Khan from S&P Global, working as a senior SDET. And my question is very little, not very big. It is about startups. Initially, we were having a statement, world is all about globalization. Then we have less code, get more. Now, this is the era of AI, artificial intelligence, and now how the startups can enable by using AI technologies for upcoming startups, new ideas. Can you share some thoughts on it?
Anyone wants to take that? I can take a shot, and then you guys can.
I can offer a thought. I mean, one of the things Mujib made the I think so. Mujib made the comment earlier, right? That AI, people are afraid it's going to come and you're going to lose your jobs. But the reality is, every one of us these days in this lean organization, we don't have one job to lose, right? We have 7 or 8 or 9. I would be very happy to lose a few of those jobs, right? And so as a startup, your people are probably doing that and even more. So the opportunity that AI presents itself is, imagine, in the past you were a startup with only a small number of employees. You had to really limit your scope and what you could take on with those employees. You have now a staff, right? And AI that you can tap that could do the work of 10 or 100 or 1,000 employees. So what are those opportunities that you can use to give yourself that scale, leveraging these AIs and these models and these tools that are out there and available for anyone in the world to consume? And then what does that allow you to do in your thinking that previously you might have thought, oh, I'm a startup, I can't do that, I don't have the people to support that, right? Throw that thought out of the window. Think about what you could do now if you had that ability to tap that staff of thousands of people as a small startup. That's one of the abilities that AI would give you.
Thank you very much for the questions. As you can see, we would love to carry this on, but
Yes, we're running a little short on time.
everybody's saying we're having too much fun, so we'll have to stop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mujib. I know this is a very, very fascinating discussion, and technology is always fascinating, overwhelming at times, and then you become an expert. It has that magic of interweaving itself into your lifestyle very, very quickly, and you become used to it, and you learn how to master it, and just then these guys change it completely. So you're back to square one, and you're again starting from the scratch and learning it, and by the time you come to the stage where you can show off, okay, yes, I know this, they change it again. So this is how the game works, and the evolution is becoming quicker, and we need to kind of stay abreast. I think mastering technology is perhaps essential, but predicting how it is going to move is more important, and that is where Pakistan will need to seriously focus on. Because we can't compete on what exists today. We need to plan for 5 years ahead to be able to stay ahead in the markets, and that's where these brains will come in extremely useful. So we are very, very glad to be on the friendship basis with you guys, and thank you so much. This was fascinating, and we loved the questions. I would like to invite Dr. Farhan Isa here for the ceremony, and I would also like to invite Mustafa Muharram and Usman to come and join us on stage for this ceremony. Dr. Farhan Isa and our General Shehzad, if you could join us on stage, please. Thank you, Dr. Farhan. Marissa, if you could be kind enough to please come and take the souvenir. Mike Ying. Yes, claps please. Lots of them. Jeff Merlin, please. A group photo for everyone before I call Dr. Jihad Nakla to please join us on stage. Chairman Al Baraka Bank, Pakistan, for two of our very eminent speakers to receive their souvenirs from him. Dr. Jihad Al Nakla, Chairman Al Baraka Bank, Pakistan, kindly join us on stage, sir. Souvenir for Mustafa Muharram, please. Dr. Jihad. And for Usman Yusuf. Mike, I hope you have received your book. Yes? Okay. If I could request Dr. Jihad to please forward the book to Mike also. This is a wonderful book, encapsulates the beauty of Pakistan. We keep talking about the potential, but the fact is that Pakistan is a gorgeous country. It's got 3 of the highest mountain ranges. It's practically the roof of the world. It's got lovely, throttling rivers. It's got beautiful plains of agriculture. It's got a coastline that is absolutely majestic with 3 active ports. Pakistan's got a lot to offer. And this book kind of contains it in the photographs and the narrative. Thank you so much.